What's up,
Good evening.
everybody? LFG Niners.
Good evening. Good evening. It's me and David back again, and we got a good show for you guys tonight. We're going to have a little bit of fun. So if anybody would like to come in, we'll drop the link here in a little while. Have you come in for a couple minutes, get your opinions on some important Niners coverage and conversation, and then we'll continue the show. So thank you again. We got Bebop and John J, the 49ers Ultimate Report, and Nathan Z. Thank you very much for coming. So, David, how's the day going? It's what day is it today?
It's Hump Day.
What? Mike, Mike,
Yep.
Mike, Mike, Mike. So yesterday we had Taco Tuesday, and today we got Hump Day. It's fun how the week breaks down like that. If you can look for like key points in the week, everybody's always like TGIF. Well, when it comes to Thursday, I like to tell people Happy Thursday, and Saturday's always fun, and Sunday, I call Sunday Fun Day. So, but yeah, so we got a lot of people popping in. Thank you, everybody. Tony just got here. I thought it'd be fun to talk about, the captains. And of course, the captains haven't been picked yet, but the ones for last year was picked. So, David, let me get your opinion. And if you have anybody here that you think that might not make the list, but I'm looking at this list. Let me put it on the bottom. I'm pretty much thinking everybody here is going to probably come back, except for maybe one guy. He shouldn't jump off the page at anybody, but if you're following the team, you should know there's one guy that's definitely not going to be a captain this year. So we got Fred Warner. I think he'll make captain.
That could be Jimmy Ward. Now, just could be Jimmy Ward. I mean,
Just maybe. Jimmy was a good Niner for a long time, and I hope he does
yep.
well with the Texans. But I don't know. I don't see him being captain of this team unless something really happens to Jimmy over there in the Texans. And now, could Jimmy Ward, in your opinion, make the Texans captain?
I honestly think. Oh, definitely. He's a leader. He's been around the league for a while, and he was Jimmy Hospital Ward to start with. Was glad to see him break out of that funk. I mean, he did still have his injury woes here and there, but he didn't miss time like he did in the early days.
Yeah, I think with like the new roster for them, the new coach coming in, D'Amico coming kind of with him, they might be like walking through the door at the same time. I think that could he could lean on Jimmy and potentially maybe Jimmy. I'm going to keep my eyes out and my ears out, definitely open so I can either hear or see that, because Jimmy was a really solid player for us for a while. He put himself out there in a lot of different positions, and then they couldn't quite make it work. He always seemed to get injured, so maybe he wasn't on the field long enough to make it work. But once he finally, they put him back there at safety, he did pretty good, decent after that. So, shout out to CarCast. Thanks for coming, CarCast. And yeah, so who else do you think? We got Fred Warner here. I think he makes captain. What do you think about Trent Williams? Is he making captain?
Trent Williams, oh yeah, I think Trent Williams, Fred Warner, you got George Kittle.
Yep.
Not having Jimmy Ward's interesting. That kind of leaves the door open for Hufunga, or maybe
Wow.
even Mooney Ward, right? The other Ward.
That's interesting because it does seem like they are what they got Freddie's defense, and then Jimmy was defense, and Armstead and Bosa. So okay, so maybe they don't have to go 3-3 because there's six of them here. So maybe that's interesting. Maybe they go three defense, three offense. I was kind of thinking maybe Juice comes into play here, and you replace Jimmy Ward with Juice Check. But I know he's been a captain before too. But I just know, like, I don't know. Sometimes you give players their cadence and their kudos when you can. If you wouldn't replace him with Juice or Mooney Ward or defense or anybody else, who else would you? What's another honorable mention?
Well, they got Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead on there, and Fred Warner. I mean, who else are you gonna? How many
Yeah,
offensive guys do we have here? Let's see. We have Trent Williams and George Kittle. That's it,
that's it.
and the rest were defense.
Yeah, Fred,
So
Jimmy Ward,
maybe,
Nick.
maybe Christian McCaffrey.
That's interesting. That's a good pick too. Yeah, CMC. Tony says it too. Bebop agrees. CMC could be a captain. Maybe replace him instead of put Juice there. Put a CMC in there, and all these guys stay there. I think the only reason Bosa wouldn't be a captain is if he makes too much of a fuss on his contract. But still, wouldn't you still give him? That's dealing with your paycheck. That's not what you're doing in the locker room, right? So, or on the field. That's interesting. CMC would be a good candidate. I don't see any of our wide receivers making it. If any of our wide receivers make captain, I would say maybe Ayuk. What do you think?
I I don't see Debo being captain, and it's just not his style.
No,
You know, wide receiver wise, I could see Brandon Ayuk being a captain. Yes, I mean Juwan Jennings probably not his style. Ray and the rest of the guys don't qualify. So
no, I don't think so either. Like Juwan Jennings would be maybe the next closest captain out of the wide receivers, I would think, because just maybe his maturity level on the field or something. But still, I don't see us getting any captains out of the wide receiver group. And then I don't think Mitch Wisnowski or Tabor Pepper make captain. Mitch Wisnowski maybe, but they're not going to make Jake Moody the captain. That would just be silly. So would you see maybe? Yeah, it's got to be CMC, huh? CMC's the
yeah,
only other player you could put in there, huh? Bebop, for your question, do you know when they're going to pick captains? We don't, because that's usually something I think they usually do at the end of preseason. It's like right before season starts. But if you have anybody, yeah, just drop it. I see you said Armstead, Warner, CMC, Kittle, and Trent, and I think you can pick one more because they did 6 last year. So if anybody in the chat wants to put their people down, okay, John J just did. It says CMC, Debo, Kittle, Warner, Moody, Armstead, Juice. I'm guessing. Now that would have been funny if you would have put Moody next to Juice. That would have been funny. But that's a good pick too. But yeah, like David made a good point. I don't know if Debo's gonna. Debo's a really good player, but I don't see him making captain. Ultimate hype guy. He wants to definitely come out of the tunnel first, and everybody cheer for him. I think he's kind of like a movie star, kind of like that. But what? Okay, David. What in your opinion does it take to make captain?
you have to be a leader. What one of the top players on the team. So you have your accolades there, but you have to be a leader, a great guy in the locker room. You know, um, that's pretty much it to be a captain, right?
I imagine
Maybe.
so because I don't think you have to have the best stats, but you have to have solid stats, right? And then you definitely have to be either a voice or you have to have something that speaks for you. It either is your practice on the field or it's what you do on the game, game day. But you definitely have to be vocal in the locker room. You don't have to be the most outspoken, but again, something has to be spoken. Your play, something. Maybe you're really good. In the weight rooms, something. But the team has to be able to look to you because you have to be a leader. It's not just about a title. I think true captains really take over their team. And I was watching like a hype video today, and it was a little upsetting because like it always ends with the Eagles, right? Well, George Kittle's running back and forth, and he was hyping everybody up even after Brock Purdy got hurt. And they said it. That's what a real captain is. That's what a leader is. Even at the end of the game, not a hype guy. Not a cheerleader, but somebody that's still going through and fighting and telling everybody hey, it's not over yet. We still got a chance. And then at a certain point, they knew they didn't have a chance, but they still, he still ran around and told everybody, "We're still playing. We're playing like we can win this. We're playing with respect. We're not going to let them just beat us up." So when they hit you, you make sure you pop them back. And I know he gets a lot of goofy, ness, and a lot of people, say he's a character. But when I seen that little clip today, it put it in a nice perspective for me. Like, hey, the guy is serious, and it's not just about like being silly on TV and a future career. He really truly wants to win. So I agree, David. Well, if anybody would like to jump on, we're going to drop the link for a couple minutes. We're going to have a cool show for a little while and then possibly go from there. But if anybody wants to come on for a little while, we'll ask you the same questions we just asked. What do you think it takes to be a leader or a captain on the 49ers? And what else, if there's somebody right here, obviously Jimmy Ward's a position that, will have to be filled for captain. So I'm going to drop the link if anybody would like to come on. If you haven't been here before, we're going to definitely need to see your face. We're going to have to, be careful because we want to have a clean show. So again, if anybody has questions or wants to call in, go ahead and put it in the chat. We're going to talk a little bit about the 49ers. And David, is it surprising to you that one day the quarterbacks look bad, the next day the next quarterback looks bad? It's like, to me, it seems like it's just a revolving circle where, next thing they're going to be saying Brandon Allen tomorrow, and then the next day it's going to be back to Trey Lance, and then they'll mix it up. Sam Darnold's looking good. Do you think they're really actually saying this? I mean, like, do you really think this is much stock to what they're saying? Because what I've heard is they can only film for the first couple minutes, and they can only film for so many sessions, and then at a certain point when they do talk, they're told not to talk about certain things. So I know some of these people that aren't like credentialed, and some of the people that are just fans, they're seeing, like how the players are playing and stuff. But when you have multiple reports of players coming out and reporters saying, oh man, this guy's getting traded, or this guy looks really bad. And then you have the Niners coming back out saying, these people don't know what they're talking about. Do you think the Niners are just defending themselves, or do you think there's really any stock in this? Because again, I haven't been at practice, but I've seen some of the highlight videos. I think they all look pretty decent to me, and it's kind of hard to really judge a picture, or a film, when you're only getting certain angles. So what's your thoughts? Is this over media, biased, or are they just overhyping us, or just destroying us and making us click because they know us Niner fans will just listen to anything?
I'm honestly thinking that it's mostly clickbait. Shout out to what's that guy's name? Mike Silver? The
Yeah.
guy that's not there, that's going, oh, this is what's going on. You're not there, man. Like, you're not there. We have certain content creators who I won't name that are there that are looking for you, and they don't see you, buddy. So when it comes to what I'm going to say a whole lot of nothing. You're just, assuming, speculating. You want clicks. Yep.
I'm going to bring John Jay in, but I want you to elaborate on that because you got a lot of good points there.
Thanks for having me on, Brian.
What's up, John?
Yep.
But yeah, man. If you're not there at practice, how can you actually say what's going on? How can you say this guy's QB3, this guy's QB? You don't know. You're not there. You're not watching. It's just that simple. You're commenting on something that you're not actually watching. So clickbait is as clickbait does. Shout out to Mike Silver.
Yeah.
Block everybody.
Hey, I'm proud to say I haven't been blocked yet, and I say it like that yet. There's a whole group of 49er fans that's been blocked by Mike Silver. If he keeps blocking everybody, he won't have anybody to listen to. I mean, they won't be listening to him for sure. So, John, what's your thoughts on the whole training camp? Let's hear what you got to say. But the topics for today was the 2002 captains they're at the bottom, and other than Jimmy Ward, would you remove anybody? And really, honestly, if you want to just tell us who's your six captains.
Yeah, so shout out, showing my face. I'm still in my desk. This is a rare time. Shout out to the McNiner Culp show for Culp McNiner. But to the question about the captains, like, there's so many great players to choose from, and it's so difficult. And I basically wrote in the chat before I hopped on in here. I think Armstead's gonna still be one of these captains because every year Armstead has been a captain, so I don't think that's gonna change. I think this year maybe Kyle Juszczyk will probably finally be a captain. Shout out to our friend Gavin out there in Wales. Hopefully it happens. We'll be so excited. he likes to be called Moody Ward or Travarius Ward. I have him as a captain. Fred Warner. I think Kittle will be a captain. You know, the Kyle always picks him. CMC. Um, I think I also put Debo. So those are the 6 players that I would pick. And you know, you could be right. You know, maybe no wide receiver would be picked, but just by going through the years and the players that have been captain, I think most of these guys have been captains for Kyle since Kyle has been there.
Yeah, I agree. And I'd really like to see Debo make it, but I don't know. I'd like to see a really good season out of him this year, and then maybe I'd solidify him as captain the following year if they keep him. You know, because there's all that talk of whether or not he's coming back or we're trading him. I know he's coming back. He's getting paid, but yeah. What's your thoughts, David, on John Jay's captains?
I like it. I do. I like it. I think it totally makes sense. You know, you got to be a leader. You got to be good. You know, and you can't be like Frank Clark or one of those guys. You know, you just can't be like that and be a captain. So
Awesome. So, John, what's your thoughts on our new addition, Taco?
Yeah. So Taco Charlton. Shout out to all people who love tacos. You know, great name. I hope he makes the team because it will have a taco for the 2023 season. He was from Michigan, was a good, outstanding player in Michigan. Was drafted to the Cowboys. Didn't really live up to Jerry Jones' expectations, so he just booted him out. And he bounced around different teams. Uh, and I think the recent team he was on, I think he was with the Bears. Uh, and someone wrote an article that was very kind of like I read through it, saying that Chris Kasurek finds these gems. Arden Key, Charles Omenihu, and he finds how to develop these guys. Kerry Hyder Jr. So if he somehow is on the team, it's good depth for the Niners. Like we do need good pass rushers. We got to help out Bosa because I know everyone wants Bosa to get 20 sacks, but it's good to have the share of sacks with everybody. So you don't have to always rely on Bosa, and that'll make your team even more ferocious when everyone is sacking the quarterback, because then you got to play everybody one-on-one. And so we have Farrell, of course, Drake Jackson. If you bring this guy in as well, with all the defensive edge rushers that we have there, it's good competition. I love competition. McNiner says it all the time. Competition at every position, even the quarterback position, running back, offensive line, every player should have competition. And I think Taco Charlton, would push, Drake Jackson to get better, Farrell better, and all the other defensive line players, because he's still a really good guy. It's just that he never lived up to that first round expectations with the Cowboys.
Yeah, the Cowboys. Heard. I'll give it to you, John. David, here a second. I heard today on a Cowboy channel that they didn't like him. They didn't like him. And it was on Terradome's channel, I believe, this morning. In Twin Empire, I think Twin Empire said it or something. They didn't like Taco. His brother has a big Cowboy channel, and he had said it too. They had let him go. And he went to, I think, the Saints after that, if I'm correct. But yesterday, when I heard in camp, he was doing really good. So sometimes just different fits. You go to a different place. Maybe it's this, the sea or whatever. The water. I always say it's the water, but he seems to be doing really good, and Kinlaw seems to be doing really good too. So shout out to both of them. David, let me give it to you.
Well, I have a good question. So, did John Lynch sign him on Tuesday because it was Taco Tuesday?
That's funny. And when John was saying that, a few minutes ago, I thought, hey, maybe Taco Bell will do one of those cool things like they did, like with the Warriors when they were winning, basketball games or something like that. Or I know they've done that. You get a free taco, if they sweep the division or something, or sweep the series. So, hey, if we get into the playoffs and Taco gets a sack, do we get a free taco? I'm asking you, Taco Bell. So, or Del Taco, you can make it happen too. I mean, I just want a taco. But that'd be awesome.
I think I honestly think your wife asked a good question in the chat there, Bryant.
Can practice? Okay, let's get that. I think this is it here. Can practice actually replicate the real time pressure of the game for these quarterbacks?
No.
Go ahead, David.
The joint practice, when you have guys that are trying to make the team, going giving 110%, I could see that replicating it. But the practices we're having, from what the little bit of film I get to see, I don't think you can.
What do you think, John?
Um, like practices are they're always important. I know there's no like best, the best way to get the reps is during the games where you're able to go full contact, but practices is really good to get the rust out, to make the mistakes, basically for the coaches also to like scheme something up, like change something during the practices. In the games, you don't have that time because you have 25 seconds, sometimes 40 seconds to spike, put the ball down and hike it. So for coaches and just my experience during practice, I would see something and I was like, wait a second. All right, hold on. Let me change something up. So I think for the coaches, when they see something, they get to change up. They can move players around. For the players, if they make a mistake, they get that second opportunity to run that play again. But it is true. You cannot replicate a game with practice, but practice still, there's a certain way for practices to help the players get better and better. That's why they practice, because if practice was not important, they would not practice and just play the games.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because what I understand is they hand you the playbook, they want you to go home and memorize it. Sure, you're going to talk about it in practice, in the meetings, or whatever you want to say, during the day, in between games. But they want you to go home and know what you're doing. They want you to, go study. You do have homework in a sense. Practice is made for, oh, you didn't get it right. Let's run it again. You didn't get it right. And I think practice, when we used to have 2-a-days or 3-a-days, back, when me and you started watching football, I think the whole idea is they did have more guys going all out and trying to make the team because they had more opportunities to be seen. But now with the amount of practice time that we actually get, they get what, 1 hour, 2 hours of practice, and that's it. I mean, I think Jim Harbaugh, he used to have longer practices than Kyle. And what I understand from other reporters and what I've heard from camp is Kyle doesn't really train guys. He's out there doing, playbook stuff with his offensive sheet, and he's just running through the plays. So I know inside the building when you're doing meetings and stuff, maybe he's breaking down more verbiage and, coaching players up more and like that. But when you're only practicing again for maybe a couple hours, or an hour at most, you got to stretch, you got all these other things that you have to do. And then there's 90 guys on the team. They're all trying to make the team, but you can't really hit the quarterback right now. So I agree with like what David said, with these scrimmages against other teams, that helps because you get some of these players that are really trying to make the team, or they already made the team, but they're trying to show the other players on the other team, hey, there's something to be feared, or they're they're going to be big in the NFL. They're trying to make a name for themselves. So I hope that answers Tony's question. And shout out to Twin Empire. Thank you for stopping in, buddy. Really, really appreciate everybody coming into the chat. So yeah. What else you got, John? What else you been working on, thinking about with the Niners? I heard Jake Moody, he kicked a pretty big field goal today, and then Zane Gonzalez topped it. He went like 57 yards today. So that's kind of crazy.
Yep.
I'm
Jake
thinking
Moody
Zane,
actually kicked it out of the stadium, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he kicked one so hard it went over the fence out of the stadium.
Yep.
So, maybe he was trying to prove something, He saw that Zane Gonzalez 57-yarder and said, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
let me do this.
And that's great news that he's making those field goals. Like, of course, everyone knows. I was very critical with the pick, but I'm excited that he's proving me wrong. Like, I think I'm the only content creator that would say I would rather be wrong than right, because if I'm right, then the team didn't do something right. So someone said he kicked like a 57-yard kick in practice, with like the fake rush, like the fake, like simulating, like the trying to, and he knocked it in. So if he's doing that, that's really good. And let's see when again, like I've been saying this on my channel. Once we start going against the Raiders, and then like he starts kicking against that Raiders team, that's going to go at him. I think that will be really really good because their kicker, I forget his name. He kicks like 60 yarders, and so I think Moody wants to like show him, hey, you're kicking for the Raiders, I'm kicking for the Niners. So I love that competition, with the team, and of course with other teams. And Zane Gonzalez, if he's kicking the field goal as well, the coaches are gonna have a tough time. How what do you do with those two kickers? So shout out to the kickers, like you're right, Brian. They matter.
Yeah, they matter. They, because they score points, and but they don't matter when they miss, or they do matter. That's when people get mad, and that's my joke too. It's like if you're gonna root for them when they're making it, cool. But you don't really hear that. Everybody gets up, they go get them a soda from the fridge. They go to the concession stands during the game. They're like, oh man, we're gonna make that extra point, and then it's when they miss. That's when everybody's like, hey, get that guy out of here. He might not have missed only one field goal the whole year, but it was that one field goal that cost you the game. So, that's why they matter. His name is Daniel Carlson, the Raiders kicker.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to kickers. And I think the Raiders signed a new quarterback today. I was trying to pull that up when you brought up Daniel Carlson, but I'm really excited about the practices. That's going to be a lot of fun. I don't think they're going to let us hit Jimmy. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think he's going to get some touches. I think they're going to touch on him a little bit. They're going to grab his shirt a couple times or something. And it's really interesting.
Man,
Like, go for it, David.
if we hit Jimmy, he's done for the season.
Wow, David.
No, it's true. I think they might put him in bubble wrap out there. They're not going to let us hit him because he just barely passed his physical. So I don't think they want to lose him yet. So I heard there was the potential because there was fires or something that was happening in Nevada, and I just briefly heard this. I was going to try to research it, so I'm not talking just to talk. But I heard there was a potential possibility that they might move the practices from Las Vegas. So, has any of you guys heard anything similar to that? Okay.
I have not heard anything.
Haven't.
I haven't heard nothing. So
That's good.
The only thing I can find on Raiders sign a QB is Jimmy Garoppolo and Brian Hoyer.
yeah.
Oh, so they signed Brian Hoyer. Okay, that was the new quarterback.
And they drafted the kid from Purdue. Yeah, so those are, I think, there are 3 quarterbacks they have.
Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer, the Destroyer. The best game he played for us was the one against the Rams. Put up like 39 points, 39 to 43. So that is awesome. So yeah, pretty good show so far. We got a lot of good things going on. Niners practices are heating up. We're going to be going to the Raiders here soon to practice, and then we'll be playing the Raiders not this weekend, but following weekend. Tomorrow's the Hall of Fame game, and I think Joe Stevens told us who it was playing. It was David. Do you remember? It was the Jets.
The Jets and the Browns.
I like the Hall of Fame game. Yeah. I like it when we get to play it. I don't know about you guys. We get that extra game.
I like it, but put some teams in it. I mean, the Jets and the Browns. Come on, guys, you can do better than that. But okay, so I just looked up their transactions, and the QB they signed on August 1st is C. Garbers. I've never even heard of him.
Okay.
Never heard of him. So they cut the tight end Howard. He was pretty good a few years back for Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm. Another kid from Alabama.
Oh, they cut Garbers, then they re-signed him. so I don't know what's going on there. That's a Raiders thing.
Yeah,
They probably don't even know what they're doing.
yeah,
Well, that's cool. The Raiders, Raiders gonna have to rebuild. They totally, I don't know, they got neutered when they lost their coach, and then just not sold on that Patriot coordinator who says he's a coach, McDaniels. Just not. But he likes Jimmy, and Jimmy's been saying that it's fun, and it's kind of Jimmy's been throwing a little shade lately. He said it's nice to finally be able to have a coach that you're on the same page with, and he said something similar like that. Like he's able to now go to the coach and talk to the coach and say, I do this really good, and do you think we can implement into the offense? Damn, Jimmy, like door isn't even closed over here and cold, and you're already like, I don't know, just Jimmy, thank you for
Oh,
your time.
it's closed, and that doorknob hit him square in the backside on the way out.
Well, it must have
yep.
hit him good. It must have hit him good for him to start talking the way he is, because I mean, I thought he had a lot of success over here, but yeah, he's over there now.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
yeah, like for me, like that's what a lot of players do when they leave, and like it ended because like if you really think about it, like he was supposed to be gone sooner rather than later. He just had to stay another year, and so you know he played. He kept his mouth shut, and then again, going over there with the Raiders, and again, I'm not trying to make anything up. I'm just going. Maybe he's like McDaniels has let it be more free. Maybe he's allowed to be more vocal. Maybe he's allowing me to change up the plays. Maybe So I think that they do have that relationship. That was his first coordinator. Nothing against Kyle Shanahan. We know he's a very particular. He's very little. Like me, OCD with that playbook. So maybe he doesn't want his quarterbacks to like overshine him. Because I remember when Brock Purdy, called a timeout, and our quarterbacks never called timeout. Kyle was a little bit like surprised, like that he did that. He was a little bit surprised, like, wow, this guy challenged me. So, but overall, like, if he's saying that again, I'm not trying to take shades on nobody, but I think he's been holding that in for a while. I think when he was here, kept his mouth shut, didn't do nothing, and if he plays well over there, and again, I'm just going hyper. If he plays better over there, he's going to take more shades at the Niners because and again, I would rather be wrong, and he's going to flop, but something in my gut says that the Raiders are still the Raiders, but I think he'll have the freedom and he'll be able to do more stuff over there. But again, I'm not sold on McDaniels.
No, I definitely am not either, but I just know that there's some weapons over there, and if Jimmy and Adams can kind of build some kind of relationship, I don't see them not working out, because I could see, him running something like what Aaron Rodgers did without maybe so much of the deep ball, like going deep so often. But I could see, like those intermediate, him being his 10-yard guy, getting he's going to be his first down man. Every time he'll be like, when I need a first down, he's going to Adams. But yeah, I don't. That's going to be bad if Jimmy goes over there and starts playing really well and having better numbers with the Raiders with less offensive weapons than we have. Man, somebody's going to really start being able to take shots, and Jimmy won't even have to take shots. He can just stand there and smile, and you guys know that smile. He'll have the same smile. He'll have the same smile, and all these other people, people like us, will come on and be like, "Oh my gosh, Jimmy put up so many numbers," and we'll be like, "Well, it's still the Raiders, right?" We'll say that until the playoffs, and then we'll get scared. But yeah, I'm really excited about that because I'm very interested. I usually watch the Raider games because I like to talk to my dad and my brothers about it, and they're usually televised close to where I'm at, so it's always fun. You can have one barbecue and then you can have another barbecue. You're watching football all day. But yeah, this one's going to be a lot more interesting because I'm actually going to be a little bit more, I don't know, not committed, or, but I'm a little bit more, what's the word? I'm invested in this one, I guess. I've seen Jimmy since 2017. I'd like to see what he looks like on a different team. So, all right. Well, chat is popping. Thank you everybody for coming. Nathan Z, Twin Empire, Annie, I see you there. Me and Annie will be having a barbecue here soon, actually for the Raider game, so that'll be pretty cool. And yeah, I'm looking really forward to it. And all All right, so we got the Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers for our preseason. And I know preseason doesn't matter, but do you think what's our record for preseason, David? And then we'll go to John.
Well, I've always gone on the theory that if you suck in preseason, you do pretty good during the season. So I'm hoping for 1-2.
All right, all right, 1-2. John, what do you think? Yeah, I know preseason doesn't matter, but can you see a 1-2 or a 3-0 record?
Let's see. So for me, I think we'll lose the first game because the Niners are going to play a lot of their young guys, a lot of those players that are trying to just see what we got there. So I think we'll lose that game. I think in the Broncos game we'll play more starters. The players who are the first strings are going to have more opportunities, and they'll probably play like the second string most of the game. So the Niners could win that second game. And for whatever the reason, like a buddy of mine told me this about 10 years ago, and I never cared. We always end the year with the Chargers for some reason. And that annoys me. Again, I don't hate San Diego. I got family that live out there, but it's so weird why we always have to finish with the Chargers. And that game probably won't matter at that. They'll probably just play like their third stringers there. So like I agree with David. We'll probably win one game.
I don't know if it's completely true, but I do. Well, I know this is true. Alex Spanos used to own the Chargers, and he tried to buy the 49ers. He was also a big reason the 49ers moved from Rockland to Stockton to UOP for the training camp. And during that time, he was trying to buy the team. He was going to have to let the Chargers go, but that was amongst the talk, right? So then that stopped. That didn't happen, and then the Niners shortly after, really quickly after, moved out of Stockton to Santa Clara, which is fine. That's where they're at now, but it was really, really interesting to me. So since then, and I think a little bit prior to that, I'll actually look it up, but I know since the Super Bowl, I want to say since 95, 94, 95 Super Bowl, we've been playing the preseason games against the Chargers like the last game. And I always kind of get irritated about it too, John. Like, I don't have a problem with the Chargers, but it's like, like, oh man, it's like, so I like seeing different teams, but we usually do play the AFC West. I remember seeing the Seahawks. I remember seeing the Broncos. We're playing the Broncos this year. Last year we played the Chiefs. So I can see it, but yeah, and it makes sense too because then teams don't have to travel super far around the country just for a game that really doesn't matter. But yeah, you know, I'm not the biggest Charger fan. They can keep their bolts. So, got a lot of people in the chat, and we do appreciate you. If you have any questions, throw it out there, and we'll try to answer them. But we're talking 49ers, and for my record, preseason record, instead of going away from the question myself, I say we go 3-0. I kind of got a feeling, but if we lose any one of them, I say it's the Raider game because I think that one's going to be the one that last year we were playing the Raiders, they almost beat us. They're going to come into that as that's their Super Bowl, and if they beat us at the beginning of the year, they're going to be like, oh, it's Raider Nation, it's all over from there. They're going to the Super Bowl because they beat us in a preseason game. So I think that I think that could happen just for the again, it's going to be their home crowd, it's their home opener, so. But I definitely don't want to see the Bronco game, us lose the Bronco game. I think that'd be kind of sad. I don't know. I don't know how I'd take that one. Well, we got a friend coming in, Corey Davis. How are you doing, Corey?
I'm doing good. I went for a bike ride today,
Sweet.
and you got trouble getting in big trucks, get into them. Today I got into one by myself. Usually my brother had to help me, pick me up, push me. I got up there by myself today.
Right on, Corey.
Yeah, sounds like you're moving around a little bit better. That's good. So, okay, let's ask you the question. Right down here, 2022. This is last year's team captains: Fred Warner, Trent, uh, Trent Williams. I wrote Trent Warner. Oh my god, I just caught that. And so it's Fred Warner, Trent Warner, George Kittle, Jimmy Ward, Eric Armstead, and Nick Bosa. Now we know Jimmy Ward's not going to be here anymore. He's now with the Texans. So would you keep the captains the same? Who would you replace Jimmy Ward with, or who overall is your captains for this year?
Hmm. I'll keep the same ones, but I have to add one to replace Jimmy Ward. And who would that be? Hmm.
It's a good question,
That's
huh?
hard to think.
Would you
Um,
with a wide receiver, a running back?
yeah, I go with you know what? I'll give what's his name from he always say he wanted to be a captain.
Juice.
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 You know the guy he always say every year he's always Juice for captain from
Gavin. Gavin.
Gavin.
Yeah.
Shout out Gavin, the notorious Gav.
Mhm.
Yeah. He'd be like, "Yeah, Corey."
I can see that. You know, you pull Jimmy Ward out and then you put Juice in. I think everybody would like to see that here. And it's just Juice has been on our team for a long time. He
Yeah.
wants. I want to see him win a ring. I don't know about you guys. I think he deserves what he gets paid. He is the best fullback in the league. A lot of teams don't use fullbacks, so I kind of think that's cool that we got one. You know, because if you can use one, and that's the style of offense we run a run zone. You know, we run a heavy run team. So when you have an extra fullback in there that can take hits like that and actually go out and catch the ball too, he's like a mini tight end. So really, really, I'm a big fan of Juice. All right, Corey. So what's your thoughts on the preseason? What's your estimate, your prediction on our record for preseason?
Mm,
Do we go 1-2, 3-0, 2-1?
I don't know because it's just preseason. More I look at it in the preseason. I want to beat the Raiders, so I say, guess I really want to beat the Raiders. So I want them to win against Raiders. But besides that, I want to see the players play hard, win or lose. You know, not because, like I said, I've seen other teams go 3-0, 4-0 in preseason, then lose in the regular season.
Mm-hmm. Like they run out of juice or something, huh? Like they used it all up in preseason, and or the team's already figured them out or something, huh?
Yeah, because that's what the Detroit Lions did. They won all their preseason, and then everybody like, oh, the Lions gonna do something this year, and I think they won like one, two, only won 3 games in the regular season.
Well, I was thinking that'd be kind of cool. You know, again, you don't want to go out and show your hand, but you definitely go out there. You want to see what these players can do, and sometimes you do play vanilla offense. But I think if you don't like show little wrinkles and stuff, I love that pass, the Trent Sherfield pass with not Brock Trey Lance the other year. You just threw it deep, and the guy just ran down and caught it. It was probably the best pass. I don't know. You guys think of any other pass that Trey Lance has thrown that's been prettier than that one? Really, that's touchdown right away. So I'd like to see them light it up. I'd like to see the Niners go into these preseason games and try to score as many points as possible. I think
Yeah,
that's usually the mentality, but I'd like to see these guys get some opportunities to go out there and just sling it around. What do you think, David? Do you think they're going to be vanilla, or you think they're going to actually give these quarterbacks an opportunity to compete?
I think when it comes to the QBs, they're gonna. I honestly think Kyle Shanahan's gonna call some plays because he needs to see what these guys can do. And from what happened last season, he needs all of our QBs to be ready. We all remember the Josh Johnson coming in and looking like it was his first day. You know,
Yeah.
deer caught in the headlights, poor guy. But it's seriously, he did not look like he was ready to actually go in the game.
No, he sure didn't. And then when he got in the game, he appeared that he wanted out of the game. And I'm not going to question the guy and say he didn't have a concussion, but it definitely appeared that he was happy to leave that game. So, just not very happy with that. It's one of those quarterbacks I would not like them to, bring back. One of the quarterbacks I always thought would be nice if the Niners could eventually have got him, but it just didn't work out to our favor. I wanted to see him get what's his name, the beard, Mister. Oh man, he's been on like 14 different teams. And I can't even think of his name.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Thank you, Fitzpatrick. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I seen a picture, a video one time of his daughters, and they had all of her friends over, and they were wearing all the different jerseys that he's been on team for. It was a pretty cool video. So, I mean, that guy, he's ultimate journeyman. And, for whatever reason, like maybe he's the ultimate bridge quarterback. But the Dolphins, for example, they were winning. And then he stepped back and they took and let Tua step up. And sure, maybe that was the best thing for them to do is, okay, Tua, let's see what you can do. But they were winning, and Fitzpatrick, he didn't really have too much of a career after that. But wow. All right, guys, we got just a couple more minutes. So, what would be a fantasy quarterback that you'd like on the 49ers? Put Trey Lance and Brock Purdy to the side right now. If you could throw any quarterback on our team for this year, who's your pick? We'll go with David first. You can pick any quarterback you want to start for the 49ers. It can't be Brock Purdy or Trey Lance or Sam Darnold, Brandon Allen. And don't worry about the price. This is fantasy.
Well, you got to start with Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
I mean, right. It would be like the NFL would be like, oh man, just give him the Super Bowl trophy already. Why even play the season?
All right, then let me have three. Give me three. So, Pat, your first one.
So, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and let's see. I would actually take Trevor Lawrence as my QB3.
All right.
Because of the hair,
Yeah,
because of the hair.
Because of the hair. Sunshine. All right, John, are you ready? Do you have three quarterbacks that you'd like to see on the Niners? It doesn't matter the salary cap. This is fantasy talk.
Three quarterbacks. Man, this would be a tough one because there are a lot of quarterbacks out there who I have a lot of respect for. And so I think the prototypical quarterback that Kyle has been looking for is not a Kirk Cousins. I know, he did draft Kirk Cousins with his dad, but he never got to coach him in a real game. I think it's Josh Allen because I remember, I know he was joking around. I'm looking for a Lamar Jackson legs and Drew Brees arm. And so if you're looking for someone like that, Josh Allen fits the mold. And I remember after they lost on Monday Night Football, he said, this kid has the talent, I wish I was coaching him. He was saying a lot of great things about a quarterback that beat his team. So I think that's a quarterback he typically would want. So that's my number one. A quarterback who if he's just looking for like a quarterback like Jimmy, just be in the pocket, of course you go back to Kirk Cousins, like someone that's in the pocket and just throws the short stuff, lets everybody else run. And the third quarterback, that's a difficult one.
It doesn't have to be the best. It just has to be somebody that you think the Niners could win with.
And this probably will be a little bit controversial, but like I think Trubisky, if Kyle Shanahan had to go and draft the quarterback, I think he would have got Trubisky. So I think that's a quarterback. And again, I think Trubisky is a good quarterback. He played with the Bears. That was not a good situation for him, and he was very successful over there. But imagine if he was there with Kyle, a guy who can still be in the pocket, a guy who can move around. Not like a running quarterback, but I think Kyle is looking for someone like that, and I think that's why he likes Brock Purdy, because when you see the highlights of how Brock Purdy moves around, again, that's why, I know this is not the right comparison, but Jeff Garcia, would sort of run like that, like not run like Lamar, but he would move around and then throw the ball. So that's, I think, a quarterback that I think if he can go back to 2017, I think he would not trade it down. He would have picked up Trubisky. Yeah.
Interesting. Corey, what would you think? If you were able to pick three quarterbacks, that could fit the Niners, or three quarterbacks that are your, current favorite players, who would you put on the team?
So I'm going to rob Kansas City's quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. Rob him. Take him.
All right, so we got 2 votes for Patrick Mahomes. And John, you voted for Pat too, did you, or did you not? I don't think you did.
So Josh Allen,
yeah,
Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, and Mitchell Trubisky. Those are the 3 quarterbacks.
That's correct. Thank you. So we have 2 votes for Pat. That's I think he's in the lead right now.
And then Josh Allen.
Okay, so we got a tie right now.
And Cincinnati quarterback, Joe Burrow.
Oh my gosh, we have a 3-way tie. Wow.
Dude, Joe Burrow's been in a couple people's picks. Not necessarily QB1, but he's been in a few people's picks.
All right, so wow. Okay, so we got 3 quarterbacks. I definitely like Joe Burrow. I think he could be really good on our team. I like Josh Allen. I think he'd be really good. He would be really, really good on our team, I think. Herbert, I'm going to say Herbert, Justin Herbert. He's my first pick on the Niners team. I think he'd be really good with the Niners. You guys know I like Aaron Rodgers, but I think that's sailed. I think he would be really, really good on the team. So I don't want to make it okay, I'm going to say it. Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. So we have a consensus. Allen and Burrow would be good quarterbacks. I like Pat Mahomes too, but I think I think he'd be really good on a lot of teams. I really do. Now the Niners, I don't know. Do you see him like completely changing the offense if he was our quarterback, or do you think he could just fit in and run the exact thing Shanahan wants? What do you think, David?
I think he could fit in and run what Shanahan wants, but Shanahan's playbook doesn't just have all the, all these people keep saying dink and dunk, the short throws, yards after the catch. Shanahan's playbook is way more vast than that. And having a quarterback that can throw the ball deep, that would open up the playbook even more than it currently is.
What do you think, John? Do you think Pat Mahomes would just come in and be, a better Jimmy Garoppolo? Or do you think, well, obviously he would open up the offense. Like David said, he'd be able to throw deeper. But do you think that's the type of quarterback that Kyle wants? Or what's your thoughts?
So, like, the best example is, like you would look at what he did with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was a good quarterback before Kyle Shanahan. And a lot of the stuff that you watched for all Atlanta fans, a lot of the stuff that he threw to Julio Jones was a lot of slants. Same thing with Mohamed Sanu, and I forgot the third wide receiver that they had. There was a lot of slants, and there was a lot of checkdowns. But yes, they were able to extend the field down the target. So like he does have deep plays. I don't know if you guys remember, but one time we were playing the the Commanders, and we were playing down in Arizona because that was our home. And Nick Mullins threw a perfect throw, and Brandon Ayuk was, guarded very well. Ball landed perfectly. That was a 40-yard throw down the field by Nick Mullins. And so, like all our other quarterbacks, do throw the ball, far. Even I know Trey Lance, doesn't have a lot of, but there are moments where Trey can throw the ball deep, but Jimmy doesn't do that. So, like McNiner says, we do have plays that I think are not meant for Jimmy. I think are meant for other quarterbacks. So I do agree with McNiner.
What do you think, Corey? Do you think that Pat Mahomes would be just plug and play with our offense, or do you think Kyle and him would get along, or do you think they would just totally open it up?
I think Kyle and him will get along. I don't see Patrick Mahomes. I don't having trouble him getting trouble because, like I said before, only quarterbacks I could see giving Kyle a headache when they wouldn't get along is two people, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady.
So that'd be interesting because the reason, and I think we all have talked about it, they said that Tom Brady didn't come to our team because there was a comment made about the 28-3 comeback Super Bowl victory. So if Pat Mahomes didn't say 10 points in the fourth quarter, he'd be on our team, right? So, but I think you're right. I think all you guys are right. I think Pat could come in. He could positively, it really depends on, like Deanna said it depends on their mindset. If they have the same mindset, if they have the same, idea. Because I think Pat Mahomes plays a little bit backyard football. I think he's like the next Russell Wilson, if that's a good analogy. I think they're different quarterbacks, but I think they both can stand back there and buy time where other quarterbacks might sometimes get sacked a little bit faster. So I think it's like every time you think you got him down, he's not down. He spins around. So I like it. I like it a lot. Well, guys, it's almost been an hour, so like to keep it to an hour for our evening show tonight. It's been a great addition. Appreciate everybody. All you guys came in tonight, and anybody else. If we do this again, we dropped a link. Feel free to come on in. We'll talk. 49ers. We'll get a good conversation.
Did y'all have y'all guests today?
You guys are our guest.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you guys are our guest. We had some scheduling things that happened. Everybody is still doing good and stuff, and we'll have those guys come back on at another time. But me and David thought it'd be nice to open it up to anybody who wanted to come in. Me and David just kind of wanted to go over a couple things, and I think we all got to have a good show, and we had some good points. Really appreciate John jumping in, and Corey, you coming in. That was really awesome as well. So again, everybody who came in, 49ers Cutback. If you guys know his channel, he's a really good guy, and appreciate you coming through. Go check him out as well. And John, real quick, let us know what you got going on for tomorrow. And then Corey, let us know what you got going on for tomorrow. And then we're going to get out of here, I think.
Yeah. Again, thanks for having me on the Culp McNiner show. It's always good talking 49ers football. Tomorrow, I got basically all my shows now are at 7 o'clock Pacific time because I don't get home till 6 o'clock. And so tomorrow I got a show. We'll see what the news is for tomorrow. And I'm doing
So
a fun.
Is the show like an update? It'll be like a news report update.
It's the same thing I did, when I did my shows in the afternoon. Just talking about the news, all the fun stuff. And
Awesome.
then on Friday, I know No Borders has this great show, so people still check him out. I'm doing a call-in show. I had Terra Dome. I had a new 49er guest, great guy. I think I had Steve-O and Corona on. It was fun. We were there for 2 hours just talking 49ers football. So I got my call-in show date is Friday, every Friday. We'll talk with the fans during the season. If there's games on Fridays, we'll watch it with the fans. And then on Saturday, I'm doing a show in the evening. I just surpassed 800 videos. So I'm going to go through some of my stuff and talk about this fun journey I've been doing. So that's my upcoming schedule, and then of course, you guys are going to get to know them. Maybe you guys already know the Deep Dig. Those guys, we're doing a podcast, and there's this new guy, a brand new dude. He's jumping into the YouTube space. He's a diehard 49er fan, and I'm going to help promote him, grow him, and of course, you all know the lady Jade. We have a special Wednesday show for the season, which will also be on my other channel. So a lot of big things happening this season, and I'm introducing a project which I'm going to keep it quiet because I don't want to surprise anybody. But there's a fun project that's going to be going on in the regular season. So that's what's going on my channel. But again, thanks for having me on.
Thanks again. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, we're trying to keep it to an hour, and had a lot of fun. Go check out John Jay's Ultimate Report. He's got a great channel. He'll also update you on the things that he's doing on his channel. Anytime you pop in, and he'll let you know his schedule. But it sounds like you got a good schedule coming up for the next couple of days. And again, everybody, if you subscribe, turn on the notifications for John, and tune in. He's always got good stuff going on. Corey, what do we got for your show tomorrow night?
We got the 49er trivia. It's happening tomorrow at 7 p.m.
Awesome.
But you know what? I just wanted to say something before. I was looking at this article. I'm like, what? It says, that's funny how articles catch you and make you read the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I thought it looked like the Rams lost Cooper Kupp for a whole season. I thought he had a real bad injury that would keep him out for the whole season. But it was just a hamstring. I thought, okay. Ugh.
Rams can't afford to lose any players. They lose any players. They only have like 3 players. It's Kupp, it's Stafford, and it's Donald. They can't lose anybody else. As far as me and David, you want to give a shout out of anything that you're going to be doing the next couple of days? I think everybody will be able to follow us, and I know we're going to be jumping on Corey's show tomorrow. Then there's No Border Sports on Friday. And then if you guys tune in, you'll find out more. There's always the Saturday show here on this channel, Sunday show, and we got a Monday show. Me and David do a Monday show with everybody, and just keep coming in, tuning on, turning your notifications on. David's done his first channel on Monday. It was really good, and then I got him to go live yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. So, David, do you want to tell anybody about your channel or what else is going on, or anything that is important that you'd like to
at this point, I'm just kind of winging it. I don't have any scheduled shows yet. I will work this out, though. We will work something out with some folks, of course. The Monday night show, I'm not sure if we're going to be on Ty Austin's or your channel yet. I'm going to let you guys fight that out. But, and, Niners Coast to Coast every Monday. We're going between First Takes, Stay Faithful. Is it that the whole channel name?
Ty changed his name of his channel. It's was it Faithful 101 or Stay Faithful? I think it's Stay Faithful. Let me check real quick.
It was Faithful 101. It had the actual letter 0. And I'm actually going to look and make sure I'm getting his channel right, because that's my guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know it's Stay Faithful. I'm not sure if there's anything else to it. We're about to find out, because he did just change it. It was 49er Faithful 101, right?
Yeah. Oh boy.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm subscribed to way too many channels. I'm going to say that. Stay Faithful Podcast, folks.
Yes. So yeah.
So Ty's channel, Stay Faithful Podcast. And then, you got the Bryant Culp, which you're currently on. So, you should know that one. And then the David McNiner channel, that's mine. That the show will be rotating between all 4 channels, Niners Coast to Coast. You got Bryant, you know, the guy over here representing the West. I'm in the Midwest, and the Eastern sections represented by Ty and Aaron. So
We appreciate it. We really do. A lot of fun. Turn on the notifications for everybody here if you guys don't
oh,
mind.
hey,
Uh,
we got one more show to shout out. You can't
oh,
forget this, Bryant.
I'm so bad. I am so bad. Okay. And Tony brings up a really good point too. So Tony is my wife, Tony Culp, right here, and I'm gonna bring up her comment real quick. And it says prayers to Mariah's faithfully. And if you know Faithfully podcast, Mariah, she's dealing with some family stuff in the hospital, so please give her some prayers. And
Yep.
we're a good community. We try to support each other. And Tony brought up a good point. She does have a channel though on Saturdays, and it's the Ladies of the Empire. It's with a lot of great women, and Peachy Brown, Jess, Niner, Bex, your girl Bex, and Dina Harvey, Gina repping the Bay. It's just a great panel. So again, Gina, Dina, Bex, Jess, Peachy, and Tony, and great girls. They all love the 49ers, so check them out. And real quick, before we get out of here, JCK510, thank you for coming. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. We appreciate you coming. Hit the like button, everyone. And he says, how many reps do you see Mitchell and Mason taking from CMC? Last question for the panel, guys. All right, David, what do you think? Do you think CMC? What do you think of this question here?
So what's the how many reps do you see Mitchell and Mason taking from CNC? Now, none,
Yeah.
because CMC is RB1. So the question is how many. The question should be how many reps will Mitchell and Mason get, but I honestly would like to see them take some from CMC just so he lasts through the whole season and does not get injured.
Yeah.
I want to see him, 15, 16 carries a game, catches, who knows, maybe 6, 7 catches a game for CMC. Mitchell and Mason, I would like to see somewhere between 10 and 14 carries apiece for those guys. I want to see us run the ball 40 times a game.
Yes, when we run the ball 40 times or more, we win. But to elaborate, they mean for game days. So go ahead, John. What do you think? How are you going to divvy up Mitchell and Mason taken from CMC?
Yeah, so like Christian McCaffrey, he's RB1 or running back number 1. So if, say hypothetically, you're giving CMC 70% of the touches, and say we run the ball about 30 times, 30% of the carries would have to be divided with those other running backs. So, like McNiner said, like they're not going to be like stealing carries. They have to earn their carries. So if we're running the ball like 30, 35 times, 70% of that goes to McCaffrey. That's about 20, possible plays. So then the remaining 15 will have to be divvied up to those two other running backs.
I like that. I like how you broke it down too. Corey, what do you think? How many reps do you see Mitchell Mason taking from CMC?
I would do it like this. I would do like this. I CMC and Mason in the first half, then casually bring Elijah in the third and fourth. Because by the time they'll be breaking the other defensive players down, they be tired. And then you bring in a fresh running back. That's how I would do it.
Okay, so this is how I'm going to break it down. I like that, Corey. I think we're all on the same page. So you give CMC the ball, and you let that guy run. You let him run first down. You let him run second down. And if it looks like he got smacked, you pull him out, and you put in Mitchell on third down, and you let Mitchell run it up the middle. But the idea is you let CMC work that game, first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and then when we're up, when we got some points on the board, you put Mitchell in there, you put JP Mason in there, you put TDP in there, and you just work it. But I would say, like, anytime you see CMC get hit, pull him out. Pull him out. If he takes a big hit, after catching the ball, or if he has a big run, pull him out real quick. Unless he's giving you a signal like, no, coach, give me back the ball and let me stay in. Because sometimes like players are like, hey, I got this. I'm going in on this play. So I would have to say, let's do a running back by committee, but it's going to dictate off of CMC, kind of like how they did when they first were doing running back by committee, because they'd start out with a running back, and then slowly but surely they'd pull that running back out, and then they'd start putting in the other two, because we were doing 3 running backs at the time, and then they would put that other running back in the game, but it was for key moments, and I think that kept everybody healthy. But this year, I think it's going to be really hard to try to pull CMC out. I see CMC getting 1,000 yards catching and receiving. I think he's going to do it, guys. I think he is going to carry this team. And if Debo comes into this year healthy, like he is right now, and he's mentally healthy and he's ready to go, a healthy Debo, a determined Ayuk who wants to get paid, a Kittle who wants vengeance for the title game. Oh my gosh. I mean, like Mitchell, who can't stay healthy, who has to prove he can still be on the team and, can contribute. This team's loaded. And we got Jake Moody kicking the ball over the stadium. I mean, like, let's go, guys. I'm excited. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question, JCK510. Appreciate everybody for coming. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and jump out. We're going to end the show, and we'll be back again. Next time we do an interview show, it could be on David's channel. So please turn your notifications on. You never know. It could be that his, could be mine. You don't know if you're not notified. So appreciate it. You guys have a great night. Go Niners. And we'll see you next time. We'll see you tomorrow on Corey's show.
Yep. Go Niners and F the Lambs.
Go 49ers.
Thank you, guys.